Good morning, ladies. Happy Tuesday. So today's math, our I can statement is, I can express whole numbers as fractions and recognize equivalents with different units. Okay, so this is Module 5, Lesson 24. So this I can statement is going to sound pretty familiar, and you're probably going to say to yourself, I already know how to do that. You do. We're just taking it up a notch, and we're just practicing. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we have fifths and we have a number bond. So I want you to think back a couple lessons to when we were doing number bonds. And I want you to think to yourself, what goes in a number bond when I'm working with fractions? And I'm going to think to myself, I'm working with fifths and I have my whole, which is 1. So how many circles do there happen to be? There happen to be 5. So I'm going to put in a unit fraction in each one of these, because this bubble right here can't be 5/5, it can't be 3/5, it can't be 2/5, because then I would have all these bubbles and they all have to equal 1. So what I have to think to myself is, this whole is 5/5 is my whole. So I have to think this one right here is 1/5, this one is 1/5, this one is 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. So I have my number bond done. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bonds to make one whole, to make 5/5. So now if I look at my number line, I can go ahead and fill this in. So again, I'm working with fifths. So on my number line, I should be drawing 4 lines. So again, estimating 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I can go ahead and fill in my number line. So I always start with my 0 and my 1. You know that you always start with your whole numbers, especially if it's 0 and 1. So my 0 fifths. Remember, you just put that 0 over the denominator. And my 1 whole, we already know from our number bond, is 5/5. So now I can just go ahead and fill in my number bond, or my number line. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, and 4/5. So what I want you to recognize on this is that 5/5 equals 1 whole, which we already know. We know that to get a whole, your numerator has to be the same as your denominator. Your numerator cannot be 8/5 and expect that to be a whole. But thinking like that, if I had, it's really hard because I stood the board up today, so I'm afraid to push it, you know. If I had 10/5, is that a whole number or is that just a fraction? This is actually a whole number, it's 2. So remember, this acts as like a little division line when we're working with whole numbers and fractions. So this would actually be the whole number of 2. So if I kept my number line going past 1, I would get 6/5, 7/5, 8/5, 9/5, and then 10/5 would be my 2. Okay, so that's what we're recognizing today, whole numbers as fractions. All right, let's try this one together. So I'm working with sixths and I have my number bond. Now I don't have anything drawn on my number bond. I don't have the amount of bubbles you'll need. So that's what you need to figure out. You need to figure out how many bonds is this number bond going to have. So I want you to go ahead and fill that in, your little drop downs. I'm working with sixths. So I'm gonna have 6 drop downs because 1 whole is 6/6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They get progressively bigger. So I know that 1 unit fraction is 1/6. So if one of these bubbles is 1/6, they're all going to be 1/6, which equals 6/6. So fill those in. Now I want to teach you a little trick to split your number line. So instead of having to estimate, 6, I have to split it 5 times, and I have to, this chunk is bigger. I want you to go ahead and think about a multiplication sentence that will give you the answer. So if I'm working in sixths, I have 6, and I always want to start, if I can, with 2. Any number that's divisible by 2. So like with 7, this wouldn't work, but with any number that you can multiply and divide by 2, so like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, you know, on and on, anything that you can count by 2, this will work for. So for 6, 2 times 3 equals 6. So what I'm gonna do, this is really cool, I just learned this yesterday, is I'm gonna split it in halves. That's my 2. I split it into 2 equal parts. So I'm done with my 2. And now I have a 3. What do you think I'm gonna do with my 3? What I'm doing with my 3 is I'm splitting each of these 2 sections into 3. So I'm drawing 2 lines. 1, 2, 1, 2. So now I'm gonna check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 parts now. So I know that my start is 0/6, and I know that my ending point is my 1 whole, which is 6/6. So now I can fill in my number line. Okay, so now I've been able to fill in my number line, and we are recognizing that our whole number is 6/6, same numerator, same denominator, okay? What I want you to do on a separate sheet of paper is I want you to write down as many, and by as many I mean, let's say, give me 6 whole fractions. So 6 fractions that equal 1 whole, okay? So I'll give you one to start. I'm gonna go with 12 twelfths, okay? And you can use any number. There I go again with my 2 different 2s. I don't get it. You can use any numbers you want as long as your numerator matches your denominator. So for instance, 12 11ths is not 1 whole. That does not equal 1 whole because my numerator is 12 and my denominator is 11. My numerator and my denominator need to be the same. So go ahead and give me 6 fractions that equal 1 whole, and I want you to send those to your teacher on Dojo or on email or text it, have your parent text it to them so that we can see what you guys come up with, and we're gonna post some of them tomorrow. All right, so I apologize if you hear a lawnmower in the back. The people just came to mow our lawn. Perfect timing, thanks guys, no worries. So here are just a couple that I came up with. Again, it doesn't have to be, 3/3, 4/4, it doesn't have to be under 10. So like I said, I did 12/12, I believe, for the example. So I just came up with some crazy numbers. But if you notice, my numerator and my denominators are all the same. So over here, I have 6,321,648 over 6,321,648. My numerator is the same as my denominator, and they equal 1 whole. 963 over 963. 84 over 84, and 2,489 over 2,489. So what I want you to do now is I want you to challenge yourself, and I want you to send this also to one of us so that we can see, because I'm curious to see if anyone's up for a challenge. So what I want you to do is give me let's say 2 fractions that equal 2. Okay, so instead of equaling 1, where it would be, 10 over 10, I want you to give me a fraction that equals 2. And if you need to draw a number line, and make sure that that's also on the paper that you send to us so we see how you got it, or just give it a shot. I'm not going to give you an example because I don't want you to see how I would do it and get a little hint. I want you to try it on your own. All right, so you're going to show 2 fractions that equal 2. All right. Once you've done that, you may head on over to Zearn. We are doing Module 5, Lesson 24 today. I'm sorry I don't have any funky little Zearn design. I have got to do some research. My sister's a graphic designer and she's stuck here, so maybe I'll have her do some for me from now on. All right, ladies, have a good Tuesday and we'll see you tomorrow.